Welcome to the Women Who Hunt podcast, a space where we share real stories from the field, celebrate women in the outdoors and inspire the next generation of hunters. From first-time adventures to lifelong pursuits, this is where passion and community meet. The Women Who Hunt podcast is proudly supported by Gun Traders Australia, Australia's trusted marketplace for hunters and shooters. Visit guntraders.com.au and be part of the community, as well as the Hunting Australia Facebook group, the country's leading online hunting and outdoors community, bringing together over 100,000 passionate hunters who live and breathe the hunting lifestyle. Hunting Australia is now officially a club you can join. Join today at huntoz.com.au and use the discount code GUNTRADERS to receive 10% off your membership. Now, let's get into today's episode. Welcome back to another episode of Women Who Hunt. Today, I'm joined by Cass Fleming, better known as the Aussie Adventuress. Cass is a passionate hunter, adventurer and storyteller who's been featured on Australia's ABC's Landline for her insights into the benefits of game meat. She's worked alongside the huntsman to highlight sustainable hunting, from long-range shooting to being part of the ADA and so much in-field experience. Cass has built a brand around adventure, resilience and respect for the land. Cass, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Carly. Great to be here.
So we'll jump straight in, mate, if that's all right with you.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
So, how did you get started in this space that we are talking about?
In the wonderful space of hunting, it's one of those things that I've had a curiosity for a long time. And I feel like it's an art that my heart has been seeking for a long time before my brain caught up. But there was quite a few things that contributed to the realization that I had that this is just something I could do. I've always been around guns. I grew up with firearms, so they've never been taboo. And a few years ago, I was doing long-range rifle shooting. And I think I've actually been thinking about this because I've been asked before how I got into hunting, but recently I got asked how I got into long range. And I couldn't really remember because I love adventure and trying out new things. So it wasn't uncommon for me to try a whole heap of different activities. Some stick and some don't. But then I was reflecting, and I think it was actually, I was watching SEAL Team, I'm pretty sure, and just the precision that they used on that TV show. And I thought, yeah, I want to get into that. So that's how I started the long range rifle shooting. I then was watching Yellowstone and took up horse riding lessons for a while, but that didn't stick. But anyway, I was doing long range rifle shooting and really enjoying the whole process required in order to take an accurate shot over a distance. And around the same time, yeah.
What caliber were you shooting with your long range stuff?
That was a 308. So at the time, that was a club gun that I was using while I was trying to work out what I wanted to purchase for myself. However, while I was at the club, I got to try a whole heap of different firearms because people were really generous and really encouraging. And when I came along, they're, oh, give my gun a go. Come try this. So I actually got to shoot a whole heap of different calibers. But the 308 is a favourite for me. I've got a soft spot. So that's what my hunting rifle is that I purchased for myself as well. But I was doing the long-range rifle shooting, and around the same time I was thinking about food and supply chain of food and where our food comes from. And the thought just occurred to me that I could hunt. And I can't remember all of the other parts that kind of came together at that time, but I just remember starting this journey of researching how you get into hunting, because I didn't know anyone that hunted. I didn't have friends or family that hunted. I didn't grow up with hunting. And so then I started the journey of doing all my research and joining some clubs and meeting some people and learning about the whole process. I was confident that I would be able to land an accurate shot, but I didn't know anything before or after pulling the trigger. So that was part of the research I had to do before I actually went out in the field.
So with your with the experience that you gathered through that long range shooting space, what do you reckon your biggest in that middle bit before we talk about the before and the after? Was it the patience? Was it discipline? What was it that what was your experience and what was the teachable moments when you were behind the rifle doing your long range stuff that made you go, yeah, I can land a clean shot?
I like that it's really calm, and you have to be really in the moment, controlling your breath, that you continue looking down the scope even after you've taken your shot. You don't sort of look away. So I was doing with electronic targets, and it's really tempting to just look away and see where you've landed on the screen. But just the practice of being really calm and really measured, I really enjoyed that element of it, and even just as how you set yourself up, how you hold the gun, the whole process I really enjoyed. And I with the long range rifle shooting, I shot out to distances that I don't have any intention to hunt to, but it was just more the process of using the firearm and getting an accurate shot that I found really satisfying.
Being comfortable behind it. That's because I started with the long range as well. That's why I'm asking those questions, because it's that, and you are absolutely 100% correct with the electronic targets, because it is so, like, it's really quick to build the habit to just take your eyes straight from the scope onto the screen.
Yeah.
But then that affects where the trajectory of the bullet, because you're already thinking about looking at the screen before the bullet's landed.
Yeah.
And that was a habit that I started really quickly and then had to stop really quickly as well, because it's interesting how it changes it, hey?
It really is. Like, you need to just hold for a second beyond pulling the trigger, and that, the patience that's in that is, I think, a really good skill to develop for anyone. And then just building up your confidence of a lot of the time I would know when I pulled the trigger if it was going to land where I wanted it to. And there's no way of actually really knowing that. It's just like a sense that you get when you know that you've done it exactly how you intended to do it, and then it does land. It's very satisfying. And then other times, the wind is blowing a gale and nothing kind of works. So, but
and you've got the flag that's closest to you blowing to the left, and then the flag that's closest to the to the target blowing to the right, and you're looking at that going, right, what am I going to do with that?
I've had that a few times. And the range that I shot at, it was over undulating land as well. So it was, there was all kinds of wind patterns that would pick up and swirl around in there. So but it was great. It was an interesting activity to undertake.
So you talked a moment ago about the before and the after stuff that you weren't too sure on. I believe you've done some, like, in the field courses and that sort of stuff. Is that how you kind of worked out what to do before you took the shot and what to do after you had taken that shot? Is that how you built those skills?
Absolutely. I did a lot of my own online research, and that was a good starting point. Then I did a course with Naturally Sufficient, and that covered the start to finish of the process. So it was covering things like deer behaviour, deer habitat, considering ethics around hunting as well, which, there's no hard and fast rule there, but there's some topics that are worthwhile for each hunter to consider. So I started considering what kind of hunter do I want to be. It did cover firearms as well, in terms of not teaching people how to use them, but things to consider while you're hunting, which that part I'd already well and truly considered. But then the butchering as well. I'd never cut an animal before, so that was really important for me to make sure that I was able to make the most of my harvest. It covered things like deer sign in the bush, how to find scat, how to find tracks, how to follow tracks when you do find them. So it covered all of those elements that I hadn't experienced before, and it was practical and theory, which was really handy as well, because I think a lot of the time you can read things or you can watch a video, but until you're actually out in the field, it doesn't quite resonate. And that was,
Yeah, you've got to actually be in it. Yeah.
Yeah. It feels very different when you're actually out in the field. So I did that course, and then I went out hunting, and I was successful in harvesting a deer, a female deer, a hind. And
Nice.
then, and that was very satisfying. The whole trip went really quite well. And then after that, I did another course with the ADA, and it was similar topics covered, but it was really interesting seeing working out how much I had learnt it would end up being around, I think it was about 2 years in between. And the amount that I had consumed in that time was really quite satisfying to know that I had learnt a bunch of information. I'd retained a lot of it. But then there's always more gems you can add onto it. I know that I'll never finish this journey of learning with my hunting. So it was really, it was great.
So I'm going to ask you the weird question that that just pops into my brain as we're talking about hunting. And I ask it because of the excitement level I had. How excited were you the first time you saw fresh deer sign?
Oh, so excited. And not just, so I, prior to starting hunting, would never have thought that I would get so excited just by finding crap in the bush.
I know, right?
It's so exciting. And the more you see it and the more you learn, like now if I found some on a trip recently and it was covered in a whole heap of really fresh, wet mucus. And I was like, this is like the best scat I've found.
Oh.
This is so good. And then I bumped a deer probably like 30, 40 meters away. So I'm like, yeah, that definitely was fresh. It's hard to know though, because sometimes when it's really cold, and it was like -5 overnight. So I know sometimes that can preserve scat in a condition that makes it look fresher than it is. But I'm pretty sure this was from that deer, because it was not long in between finding that and bumping the deer.
And I ask that because I too am like, I cannot believe how excited I get for finding poo.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
Like how have I become this person that's like,
I know.
Oh my God. And even like pig poo, when you find a really big pig poo, you're like, whoa, and that's fresh and that's a big one. So there must be a big pig around here.
Oh, good. I haven't had that experience. So that's something for me to look forward to in the future. I save some of my poos for later.
Yeah, bank that one.
That's it. Oh, how funny.
And it's funny, I've got questions asked and I've digressed with the poo. So when you've done those courses and things, like you were talking about kind of doing the naturally sufficient one and then a little while later doing the ADA one and kind of reflecting on the gold nuggets that you'd taken along the journey with you. What have been your biggest takeaways from those experiences and being part of those courses?
There's a lot of little 1%ers that you take away, and I think that's when you approach hunting, there's so many little things that can work in your favor or work against you, and the more little pieces that you have, you can, I guess, add it all up and increase your chances of success. And it's, simple things like, someone said that, with your laundry detergent, don't have UV reflectants in it, so you don't have the fancy laundry because deer can see UV. Some people swear by that. Some people, talk about, how scent is super important. Having the wind in your face is really important. How the thermals work. How you can tell, the age of the scat by its condition, or how to look for rub trees. Like there's just all these little bits and pieces that you can put together. At the end of the day, the only thing that will give you 0% chance is sitting on the couch. So long as you're out there, you've still got a chance. But it's just all these little things. And I know that when I've been out and I've gotten close a few times and I've done something that's ultimately led to me bumping a deer or not being successful. They're all the little learnings that you get along the way. And these courses, I guess, just give you a head start in that, so that you're still going to make a lot of mistakes and you're going to forget stuff while you're out there. But it just gives you, it's like the saying that you kind of use, starting from the last person's shoulders. Like, you're not starting from the ground. You're already equipping yourself with some of the skills and the knowledge that you'll need to have more chance at success in the wild.
Like supercharging your knowledge, like plugging a USB into somebody else's brain and then plugging it into your brain and kind of starting from 5 instead of 0.
Yeah, and because you hear some of the older guys talking about how when they started there was no resources and it was just a trial and error going out there and learning. And any hunter will still have that trial and error, definitely. But there's a lot of knowledge that's been collected over decades, and it's really rich knowledge to learn. And if you can start with that as your basis and then grow from there, I think you're not only going to potentially have more success at harvesting, but you're probably going to enjoy yourself a little bit more as well.
Yeah. And it's like the time seems to have changed, because I didn't grow up in a hunting family. My husband had done hunting for a long time. He started hunting when he was 12, but then we kind of didn't get back into it until our son was 12. So we didn't have the uncles and the grandfathers and all of that sort of stuff who passed down the knowledge and the good spots and all of those sorts of things. So that was something, when I did the course I did, that was something that I really took away from it. It's almost like you're getting that inherent knowledge that would have been passed down previously through hunting families. It kind of bridges the gap. Just because you don't come from a hunting family don't mean you can't get into it.
Absolutely. That's one of the things that the hunting community can offer, is for people that haven't grown up in a hunting family, or if you have, it can go either way. But for me, I didn't grow up in a hunting family, so there wasn't anyone to pass that knowledge down. But the clubs that I've been a part of, so both the Australian Hunters Club and the Australian Deer Association, have been really helpful in helping me to acquire some of that knowledge, as well as the courses that I did. So the courses are great. Like, you have each of those were a weekend a piece, but there's the ongoing learning and the camaraderie that comes with being a part of a club, which I find really enjoyable.
That's what I've quite enjoyed, is how, I don't know, willing to share knowledge and experience and kind of bring people along for the journey the hunting community is. I've always struck really good humans who are happy to share their knowledge and experience and are quite welcoming. Is that kind of been the experience that you've had as well?
Yeah, I would say so for the most part. And it's funny because I don't ever want to deny anyone else's experience. You hear all kinds of stories about what people have come across in their journey and if they've joined clubs. And I know for some people, they say that clubs can be really cliquey and people want to keep the information to themselves. And maybe there are people that do that. But I also think as well, you often get out of something what you put into it. And when I was wanting to join clubs, I didn't look at them all and go, well, where am I going to get the most for me out of this? I actually was thinking, well, where do I want to spend my time and energy? What is a group? When I went in there, it's like, is this a group of people that I want to invest in and a community that I want to be a part of? And that's what I've found in both of the clubs that I'm quite involved with now. It's a space that I love and I want to invest in to make as great as it can be. And then there's a lot of other people that are of a similar mind, and we all kind of come together and share. And I don't think that it's expected that people will give away their exact spots, because if they've built up their IP over a long time and that's something that's spots that's really special to them, I don't think that you should be expected to do that. But a lot of people are willing to do that if you've become part of this community and you haven't just come in demanding that everything be given to you. But I think obviously everyone has their own experience in this, but I have found that most people I've met through the clubs that I'm a part of are really welcoming and happy to share, even if it's not specific spots, they're happy to still share knowledge and also to give you encouragement along the way, which is really nice. It's not just about teaching you things, but when you are successful in harvesting a deer, or when you had a win, or whatever that looks like for you, that you've got these people that celebrate with you, which is really nice.
Yeah, I agree. It's that, and I've had exactly the same experience. It's that it's not just the knowledge parting. I've felt that they've wanted to be part of the journey, and they've wanted to be part of your story as well. And when you do succeed, it's that celebratory. I'm a joiner though. Like if I'm going to do something, I'm full guts, and a bit the same as you. You kind of suss out and go, is this where I want to spend my time?
Yeah.
Because I want to give as much as I take, sort of thing. Like I might have the knowledge and years of experience, but there's stuff that I can help with as well. So when I join something, I want to join it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
100%.
And I think a lot of the clubs benefit from people that are like that, and I think it's pretty cool that the hunting community, I can't speak highly enough of them. Like there's just beautiful humans.
Agreed.
So the Aussie Adventuress, how did that start? What inspired you to kickstart that adventure?
Yeah, so I've loved adventuring for a really long time, well before it was trendy to put it on social media. I've had a physical bucket list for more than a decade, and I've constantly been putting things on it and ticking them off. And so over the years, I've shared the stories with friends and family, and, back in the day more on Facebook rather than Instagram. But I guess I find myself in a lot of conversations where people ask me how I got into a particular activity or how I learned a certain skill, or, I'll do something. They're like, oh, I want to know more about that. And I just sort of thought it's a way that I can, both for my own sake, document some of my journey, because I don't know, my memory is funny. Sometimes I look back over my photos and videos and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. Like, I did that thing. How good's that? So it's partly for me in my own documenting, I guess, of my life's journey, but then just to share as well. And I think life is so much better when you connect with like-minded humans. And I think social media is one way that you can do that. And a lot of the people that I interact with on social media are actually people I now know in real life. Some of them I knew already, and then we connected on the socials. But there's been people that I chat to that I potentially would have never met if not for having the Aussie Adventuress. And I love that. I don't think that you need to have, you don't need to know someone really well in order to have a meaningful connection with them, like just a little pop of connection. And that's why I run my little quizzes, and I have opportunities for people to engage, because I think life is a lot more enjoyable when you just have those random moments where there's a bunch of people that I know exist because of my social media, and they know I exist, and you just have this like shared understanding that we want the best for each other and that we're living our own best lives and encouraging each other to do the same.
Yeah, I love it. Absolutely love it. Have you got a favourite adventure?
Oh, I mean, my default is saying that I've driven a tank, because that was really cool.
Stop it. All right, you're going to have to dig into that.
Yeah, I weave it into every conversation I can. So
as you should.
Driven a tank.
Well done.
Yeah.
Do I pick the apples, or do I pick the oranges? Oh, I've driven a tank.
Yeah, exactly right. It trumps everything. That was really cool. That was a Centurion tank in New Zealand. the place is closed down now, and thank goodness I didn't have enough equity in my home to buy it when they sold the place, because they did offer it up for sale, and I would have been so tempted, but this was not long after I bought my first home, so I was like, can't really do that. But no, that was really.
That there was a thought that you could, that like there was a process of maybe I could do that.
Oh no, definitely.
Awesome.
I did the calculations, and I was like, nah. Yeah. So sometimes things happen for a reason, and that's why I was offered at that time and not now.
Because I own a tank kind of trumps I've driven a tank, just saying.
I know, right? I know. Like, hey, want to come around and like go for a ride in my tank? I mean, I live in a townhouse at the moment, so that wouldn't be practical, but my long-term goal is to have a farm. So then I'll get my tank.
Yep. I think it's essential. Every farm should have a tank.
I think so too. Absolutely.
So I'm just going to change back to the hunting. I could talk tanks. I could talk tanks all night, but have you got a hunt or an adventure that perfectly captures your brand, the Cass Fleming brand? This hunt or this adventure is the thing that just encapsulates me as a human.
Oh, goodness. That's a good question, isn't it? You know what? Like, I'm struggling to think of just one, because one of the things that I would say is one of my strengths is that I'm pretty even. So what you get on one day is what you get on the other day. It's what would encapsulate me? I don't know. I mean, I can talk about some of my favorite ones.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, I mean, one hunting experience that I had recently was where I, first time using a caller, was able to call in a deer, which was really exciting, because I have tried a caller a number of times and not had any deer come in. But this particular day I called in a deer, but by the time I was able to get the gun up to get her in the sights, she had gone up a hill and was up on the ridge line. I was hunting with some other people, and one of the guys was like, oh, shoot her. And I said, oh, no, I can't. And from where I was, I could see that I couldn't take a shot, and my mate wouldn't have been able to have the same vantage point that I did. And I was like, no, I can't. Like, she's on the horizon, can't do it. And I just, in a split second, made a decision that I was going to still try to get a shot. And so I was using the caller and kind of, like duck walking, I guess, trying not to move too much, but walking up the hill, because I knew I either had to get up higher or she had to come down lower for me to be able to take a shot. And I managed to do both. I managed to have her come down and me get up high enough to see the ground behind her, and was able to take a shot. And one of the things that was really satisfying about that for me is that I know that I knew about myself. I don't have, I'm not trigger happy. I know I won't take a shot unless it is a clear shot. But in this moment, I could see all of her. So it's not like she was obscured behind trees, and that was my reason why I couldn't take a shot. It was that I wasn't going to shoot over the ridge line, and I absolutely could have. She was close enough that I could have if that was how I would operate. But in the heat of the moment, I stuck true to my own ethos, which is a really nice feeling. And yeah, so that kind of, and that I guess that comes back to what when I was trying to think of an example. Like, it's I say what I mean and mean what I say, and it's really satisfying to me when I'm put in the heat of the moment and I'm still true to how I want to, deal with a situation.
I love it. So even when even when there's pressure and all of those sorts of things, you're still able to stay true to who you are and what your values align to. I love it.
Yeah.
So was it
And
an
I mean,
electronic caller or?
no, one of the Flex Mark, I think they're called. So it's just a little bit of rubber and like a little reed in it that vibrates.
Yeah, okay. And
Yeah.
she responded to it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Came on in.
Oh, man, that would have been absolutely magic.
It was because I have used it lots of times and not had any success at all. So it was almost disbelief when I first saw it. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like it's worked.
Oh, hang on.
And I was looking one direction as well. So because I was sitting in with some rocks and we were looking sort of down the gully, and the twigs were snapping behind me, and I looked around thinking, like, it's probably not a deer, and then it was. I was like, oh
my
that's
goodness,
pretty exciting. Yeah.
And so you didn't take the shot?
No, I did, but not until I could. So that's why it was so exciting, was that I followed I followed my own rules around what I will or won't do, and I was able to I got high enough, but I also called her down low enough so then I could see the ground behind her, was able to take the shot. Yeah, and that is definitely the best venison I've ever eaten, because there was so much emotion that went in to that hunt, for a number of reasons, because I also then, it took a little while to follow her up, and it's just the whole process was how I would want it to be. I feel like my actions throughout the hunt were ones that I can be really proud of. And then the meat was bloody delicious. Yeah, it's funny actually, because Zach actually on his podcast asked me my first year, he's like, is that the best venison you've ever eaten? I'm like, no, it really wasn't, because I didn't, like, back then I hadn't had a lot of practice cooking venison, and like that was my first hunt. Like, I was still very satisfied with how my first hunt went. But there was something about this one that was just really, really satisfying. And yeah, I when I was eating, I made this beautiful lasagna with like pulled venison from it, which was really delicious.
Oh,
and I was truly satisfied eating it, just knowing exactly where it had come from, knowing that it had been taken in a manner that was as humane as possible for any animal to perish. And I was, really satisfied.
It's funny you say that, because I listened to Joel Salatin, lunatic farmer from over in America, and he talks about his farm animals having one bad day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I look at what we do as the animal having one bad second.
Yes, absolutely.
Like they're living their best life until they're not. And it's like literally moments of their life that's impacted. And that's the thing that I absolutely love about hunting and wild harvesting, particularly deer. And when you're right about when you know the story, it tastes better. I'm going to have to get your lasagna recipe off you, just hot tip.
Do you know, I'll happily provide it. I made it because my mincer is so slow, and I was like, I cannot bear to make this mince. So I was like, I'm just going to slow cook it and then pull it. And that lasagna was so bloody good. I don't think I'll ever make it with mince again.
I had never even considered pulled venison as lasagna. Like, you've changed my world, mate.
Oh, it's good. if I can send out one message to all your listeners, make some pulled venison lasagna.
What was your takeaway? Pulled venison lasagna.
The important stuff.
So we're talking about the harvesting and the benefits of game meat and whatnot. And I can't talk to you without talking to you about the landline story where you were the cover girl for it. How did that all come about?
When you say cover girl, that was such a strange experience, when every time I was opening up my phone, I'd see my face again, and in places I hadn't put it. I was like, oh my gosh, this is wild. But so that came about from, part of the Australian Hunters Club, Chris Waters has his the Huntsman and then the Australian Hunters Club, and he had interacted with Rhiannon before, and I'm not quite sure how that had come about, but when this story came up and Rhiannon was wanting to do a story on game species and deer management, she was in contact with Chris, and part of what she was hoping to do was to have someone in the story that didn't come from a typical hunting background or isn't your stereotypical hunter. And Chris had recommended me, and so then I had a chat with her, and we had a good old chat actually. And through that, she said, yes, I'd really love to do, I'd love for you to be part of the story. And then we went out hunting together. So I took her out hunting for the day. She came with me for the process. I mean, it was a little bit different to your regular hunt that you have when you have someone else with you, but it really was to showcase what the hunting process looks like for people that may not have seen it, and then just to talk about my reasons for why I got into it, and then it went on to the other parts of the story, which was naturally sufficient, which is the course that I did, and then Chris and his story, and then Pete with Bore Adventures, who I've actually been out with for a hunt as well. That was one of the first hunts that I went on, was that I booked to do a hunt with Pete.
Nice.
And the reason why I did that one with him was it's really educational. I didn't want to go out with someone that led me onto a deer on private land and I just pointed and pulled the trigger. I really wanted to work for it, but I also wanted to do it with someone that knew what they were doing for the first little bit, and I hope that would set me up for future success. And it did. We got close a few times. I didn't take a shot on that on the hunt that I did with Pete, but I learnt a lot, and it was really valuable being able to see things out in the field and have them confirm straight away if I was on the right track or not.
Yep. And it's not always about taking the shot, I don't think.
No.
It's about the experience that you get from being out in the field.
Absolutely.
So, and I actually point people to that story even before Zach said you need to reach out to Cass. I'd watched that because I think it came out, August last year?
Yeah.
So I'd seen it quite a few times. And when I'd started to get into hunting, I'd actually sent that, because it's on YouTube, I'd sent that to friends and gone, this is what it's actually about.
Yeah.
Because it's such a powerful story, and I think you did such a great job of just, being real about what it's like to be in the field, looking for wild venison to then harvest, to then put on your plate. And I think it was a really powerful story. So.
Well, thank you. I'm really glad to have been a part of it. When the conversations were first happening, my questions were, what's the vibe of this thing? Is this anti-hunting? Is it pro-hunting? And Rhiannon had said that it was just going to be balanced view. It's about different perspectives. And so I was happy with that. And I'm really keen to do whatever I can to positively impact the hunting space. It's something that I'm really passionate about. And I think it's one of those things that whether we like it or not, every single hunter is an ambassador for the space, in that we all have the individual behaviours have the potential to affect all of the hunting community. So whenever an opportunity arises that we can represent the benefits and all the reasons why we do hunting in a respectful manner, I think that ultimately helps the hunting community.
I think it's a really important message right now, hey?
I think so. I think it's about, and so for me, it's not about sugarcoating anything, because it doesn't need to be. It's actually just about truth telling, because a lot of people that I have conversations with about hunting, they're really curious. It's not so much that, and I'm not saying that other people have had the same experience that I have, but a lot of the time when I start a conversation, people are really surprised if they don't know me well. If they know me well, they're like, oh yeah, Cass probably that probably tracks. But people that I just have met, I don't there's nothing about my appearance, unless I'm in camo, that's going to tell you that I'm a hunter. So a lot of the time I'll have conversations with people and then they'll be like, oh, really? Like, how'd you get into that? And then we start this conversation about, you know, all the benefits of it and how it's about for me, it's about the harvest and how I want to know where my food comes from and ethical treatment of animals and all the rest of these things that pop up. And people are like, oh, so it's not just for a trophy or it's not just this. And it's like, no, yes, those things exist and they have their own benefits anyway. But there's so many things. And one of the things that's been really nice about the article and some of the feedback that I receive from people that I've met since doing it is that it not only benefits people if they're curious about getting into hunting, but it's good for people to share with friends and family who are already hunters. And then, like you said, to be able to share and be like, oh, this is what it's all about. And I had a guy approach me recently at an event and he said that his partner had always had a problem with him hunting. He still did hunt, but it was always a point of contention for them. And he said after that story, he's like, oh, now she's seen it. She's like, oh, so women hunt as well and it's not barbaric and that's great. And now she encourages him to go out hunting. And I'm like, oh, that is such a win. She doesn't want to hunt and that's okay. But it's helping the public perception of what it means to hunt and what it means to be a hunter, the narrative isn't really changing. It's just being opened up to more views, to a wider audience to see what hunters have known for a really long time.
Exactly. Do you think that the taking wild venison or wild whatever, do you think Australians are kind of, and I don't know, it might just be because that's my world now, but I feel like people are more open to giving the likes of venison or wild pork or whatever a bit more of a go. Have you kind of experienced that as well, or is it just because that's who I'm talking to majority of my time now?
Yeah, it's hard to know actually. Because the algorithm quite quickly sends you what it thinks you want to see and hear. So because I'm more aware of it now too, and I don't know if it's because I'm firmly in this space and a lot of the content I consume is hunting related. So it could be that. But I know that there's brands. So like we've got a brand down here called Dama Dama and they harvest and sell venison, and then there's expos that are popping up and that are serving venison or other wild game meat. So it could be on the incline, but I don't know. Yeah. I feel like I'm too in it to know what it's like if I wasn't in it.
I'm the same. I went to a pie shop. We were just out and about a couple of weeks ago. I went to just a random little country pie shop and they were selling venison pies. And I'm like, oh, my God, how cool's that? Yeah. And then I'm like, I don't know whether if I had have not been in the hunting space, if I would have even noticed it before or what. But I'm like, oh, that's neat. And I actually said to the lady behind the counter, it was too early for a venison pie. I just needed a coffee. I'm like, oh, my God, that's awesome. She goes, yeah, they're really, really popular. And I'm like, I can understand why. But, yeah, so I just, as we were talking about, I'm like, I wonder if you've kind of experienced that as well, or if it's just, like you say, the algorithm feeds you what you're looking for.
Yeah, I don't know. But I'll have to ask some people that are not so far in to be like, hey, what's your what have you noticed around game meat?
Because the first time I ate it was out at a friend of ours has got a hunting property, and he invited us up to his homestead, and he made because he's got chital on his property, so it was roast chital, and he's also got wild pigs, but it's on his property, so he harvests the wild pigs as well. And he did a cook-up of venison wild pig, and oh my goodness, it was the nicest food I had ever tasted in my whole life. I think I could have probably eaten a plate, and I was like, I am absolutely sold. and that was it. That I was done from then. I'm like, yep, we are hunting all of the time now.
Yeah, how good's that?
So good. So good. I just want to flick into the women. I noticed a moment ago you were saying about the gentleman that his wife was like, oh, that's what it's about. Oh, and women do hunt as well. What's your experience as a woman in the hunting space? What's your experience been so far as the chick that's the hunter?
I've had predominantly a great experience entering into the hunting space. I think that for a lot of people, what you look for is what you'll find. And I was quite confident exploring this. I'm pretty confident in the way I navigate the world. So I think that helped. I don't expect people to behave any differently because I'm female. This, to me, hunting is not a gendered sport or a gendered activity. So the fact that I'm female, in my mind, shouldn't make any difference. And I realize that it does for some people. And, you know, if I go to an event, and quite often I am the only female, or there's very few females, or sometimes there'll be a partner but not a female hunter there, I guess I feel like I've got personal responsibility in how I conduct myself and how I show up and what I look for and how I invest in my connections. And the hunting space is one of those places where I make connections. Predominantly people have been welcoming, but when I say that, I don't mean that they've rolled out a red carpet and done anything differently. They've just been normal people that have been like, oh, good on ya, you're getting into this, and had some conversations. Some people have been friendlier than others, but that happens everywhere. If you're a male walking into the space, you're not going to be best buds with everyone on your first time that you go there. I would say it takes time. You know, it took me probably maybe 5, 6, 7 meetings of going, and they're every couple of months. So it probably took about a year before I was like, yeah, like this is part of my crew now. I didn't feel uncomfortable before that, but it takes time to build rapport with people. And if it doesn't happen instantly, I don't make the assumption that it's because I'm female. It's just that's how humans operate. You take time and repeated exposure to get to know each other, to learn what each other's about. And I remember just thinking remember on my second time that I went to the ADA, I remember that I walked in, there was quite a few people in conversations already, and no one approached me and was wanting to strike up a conversation or, made a point of coming and talking to me. And I absolutely could have been like, oh, it's because I'm a woman, they're not wanting to talk to me. But then, no, they're just humans in their own conversations already. And then I was like, well, I've also not approached anyone. So I just went up and found someone that was standing on their own and started having a chat with them. And it turns out that it was their first or second time there anyway. And I just thought, I question how much of people's journey in life is what they're telling themselves as opposed to what they're actually experiencing. This is not like this happens for everyone, for men or women. If you go looking for reasons to feel included, you'll find some. And if you go looking for reasons to be excluded or to feel offended, you'll probably find that too. The main thing for me is I want to feel safe. So if I go into any space, the hunting space or anywhere else, and it's a bunch of blokes who are acting in ways that make me feel physically unsafe, that's not a space that I want to stay in. But if I go there and they're just not bending over backwards to make me feel welcome, that's on me to be like, okay, well, they don't have to make me feel liked, but I also might not want to stay there because if I'm not feeling a friendly connection with them, they're probably not my tribe either. But that hasn't happened. I feel like the clubs that I've been a part of, the blokes there have been really respectful. They have been mindful of the fact that I'm a woman on my own showing up in a space, and they've been respectful, I guess, of things like personal space and the way that they talk to me. And I appreciate that. I remember my first camp that I went to, I arrived really late. It took me a lot longer to get there than I thought it would. And then I arrived at like 9 o'clock at night, and there's like 20 blokes sitting around the fire And I accidentally bumped my horn on the way in, so I announced my entry like, beep, hi guys.
Well done. Hi, I'm here.
But I went up to the fire and like, you know, quite a few people kind of approached me one-on-one and had chats, and then sort of, you know, went back to the circle and stuff. So I don't know. And I'm not saying that they all necessarily knew to do that. That wasn't like a plan that they had, but it did make me feel very safe and welcome, that they were not, I didn't feel overwhelmed. I felt like they were just all genuinely friendly. So yeah, for the most part, I've had good experiences. I've had some weird comments from people online and things like that have not been nice, but everyone cops comments that are unwarranted. So I don't assume that that's because I'm female. My big thing is I actually don't want to be treated differently because I'm a female. So if someone I meet through the hunting community invites me out for a hunt, that's my assumption, is that's what they're inviting me to. Because if they were asking a bloke, they'd be asking them for a hunt. It's not a date. It's not like there's nothing else to it in my mind. It's just I want to be treated like any guy there, because then it's all just, you know, mates, not dates. Just good people for genuine friendships. That's my preference anyway. So
It's interesting because I've always been exactly the same as you. Like, and I don't know, younger years I gravitated towards like the mechanics side of things and the car shows and all of that sort of stuff. And it was exactly the same sort of thing there. Like you'd see the boys and then I'd rock in with my car to show, and it'd just be like, oh yeah, can I give you a hand with that, or blah blah blah, oh you've tricked that up, or like, and it was never anything. I don't know, some reason I've always gravitated to more male dominated hobbies and interests and that sort of stuff. But yeah, I've had exactly the same experiences in the hunting stuff as well. Like the blokes are just like, they just want to say g'day and kind of, oh, what are you shooting? What have you done? And and oh, have you tried?
Absolutely.
And then you know what my litmus test is when they start bagging you because you're shooting, oh God, you should. 6.5 Creedmoor, yeah, typical, yeah, that's why, yeah. I'm like, yep, okay, good, I'm in.
Yeah, absolutely. That's all you want, right? Like you just want to be mates with people. And so for me, I have a lot of female friends as well. It's not like I just want bloke friends and that's why I'm doing, like, I just happen to like a lot of activities that are male dominated. I also have women things. I run a women's walking group, and I have a lot of close girlfriends that I love spending time with. They just don't want to go hunting with me, and that's okay. I don't need to convince them. And I have actually met some really amazing women now. I am sort of continually meeting them now in my hunting journey, but in my origin story, there wasn't women there. But it didn't bother me. I wasn't specifically seeking out women. I was seeking out mates to hunt with. Their gender was irrelevant. So, that's my preference, is just quality humans that want to share experiences and have a nice time together.
Yep, 100% agree. So when you're out, I'm still picturing you. You're driving into the camp and bumping you. So you've rolled in. You're there for the weekend, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So are you in a swag? Like what are your essential items when you're like, all right, I'm going on a hunting camp? What goes in the car?
So it depends where I'm going and how long I'm going for, because I have a lot of camping gear. So I've got a swag, I've got a small tent, I've got a large tent. I've actually got 2 swags, 2 tents, and then a rooftop tent. I've discovered the rooftop tent is so I love being outdoors, but I love being comfortable outdoors, like as in I don't want to, I am actually a lizard. People do think that I'm human because I have a humanoid form, but I'm biologically a reptile. So for me, staying warm is really hard. So I will take all the supplies I need so that I can function. And so in winter, I've discovered that the rooftop tent just doesn't cut it. So I've been taking my swag or a tent, and then I've had the gazebo as well to keep the frost off. And then I've recently purchased a diesel heater, which is a game changer. Very much loving that.
Now you're talking.
Yeah, it is so good. The last trip that I was on, I was in a little dome tent. I'm pretty sure if you took a photo, like if you looked at it under thermal, you could just see like a glowing dome with the outline of a lizard inside, because that was my tent. But it makes it so much more enjoyable for me. I won't not go to places if it's going to be cold. I will just go prepared, and you won't hear me whinging because I will be prepared.
You'll be comfortable.
I will be comfortable as much as possible. And then if I can't do that, like when I actually go out for a hunt, if I'm rugged up in all my layers and stuff like that, I'll do what I need to do to enjoy the journey. I don't think that you need to be miserable to go hunting. You can if you want to, if that's part of the journey. But part of the reason why I go hunting is because it's a recharge. I love spending time in nature, and if I go and do that and I end up shivering the whole time and not coming back refreshed, then I haven't really achieved one of my objectives. So
haven't done the recharge.
Exactly right. But yeah, I have a lot of gear, and I have a lot of cooking stuff as well. I love cooking on the fire. I've got an electric blanket as well, and a dedicated battery that runs the blanket.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, nothing wrong at all. Exactly. But then this weekend just gone, I went to visit my aunt over in Adelaide, and I took a bag that was 4 kilos. So I just took carry-on luggage. I can absolutely take what I need for a trip. But if I've got, this is the thing as well, if I've got the car, I'm the only person in it. So I'm gonna pack it to the GVM of all the stuff I need.
Yep, why not? Well, we bought the hunting trailer, and one of the requirements for that hunting trailer was that it was able to run a proper coffee machine.
Yeah. Yes. Yep. That's been one of my latest acquisitions, and it is so good.
So I completely hear you about the diesel heater, and I remember the first time I went out with some mates at their property, and it was like day 3, and one of them was like, "Hey, Carls, we've just got a question. We haven't seen you use the donger." And I'm like, "Yeah, no, I've got my own toilet." Like they were genuinely concerned because they hadn't seen me go to the bathroom.
That's hilarious.
And I'm like, well, I didn't know what I was coming into, so I just bring my own, and I don't advertise it. No one needs to know about this stuff. And it was a genuine concern of like, oh, we haven't seen you go to the bathroom. Are you all right?
God bless. How nice that they're keeping track of things like that just for you, for your well-being.
And for the record, there was a bathroom there, but I'm like, oh, I've set this thing up now, so I'm going to use it.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good.
So, what skills are you still hungry to learn, mate? What's on your list of stuff?
Yeah, I'm doing a lot of cooking at the moment, so there's some techniques that I want to perfect there. I'd like to do more of the cooking with fire, but more meats and things. So I'm getting pretty good with a camp oven, especially desserts. But I don't know if you see that. I mean, my algorithm's sending me these things now where there's just all these big fire pits with like pineapples and chickens and different things not burning, but cooking above it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that just looks so good. I really want to do that. I also have a lot of skills that I want to learn around, I guess collectively it'd be called homesteading maybe. It's all the things that you do when you have a farm, because that's part of my plan. I'm 1 year into a 5-year plan to buy a farm. So, nice. I'll start slowly acquiring the skills that I'll need so that I will be ready to hit the ground running when that dream eventuates.
You've got to do it. Like we make our own laundry detergent here. Like I save an absolute bomb. I was making my own soap for a while. And it's all that stuff. Like it just, So I'm hearing you about the homesteading skills. I love all that.
I feel like there's always something new to learn. So I figure if I start learning bit by bit, then I'll have heaps of new things that I can weave into my lifestyle when I have my land.
when you've built your own domain
Yeah,
of lizard land.
that's right. That's exactly right. My warm little pod in the bush. My latest thing, and this could change because this is still 4 years away before I'm that's my time frame that I want to do this in. I really want to buy a train carriage
Oh,
and
now
renovate
that's
that.
cool.
Yeah, so that part could change because there might be other things I might find land that has a cabin on it that I want to renovate or something like that. The land I definitely know that I want, backing on state forest ideally, of course. But yeah, I'd really like to do up a train carriage with all it's got so many windows and build a deck around it and be amazing.
That would be cool. That would be very cool. So many options.
There's so many. Yeah. I mean, I'm already looking on Facebook Marketplace and then telling myself off because I'm like, Sandra, this is 4 years away. You don't even have the land yet.
Oh, it might still be available in 4 years.
You're right, it might.
I'll bookmark it.
Yeah, that's right. I'll save it. And then I'll swoop in after 4 years. Today.
They'll have had it for 4 years if they get it today. So they'll be bored with it. And so 4 years' time, you'll be sweet. You can just go
exactly right. They'll be so ready to get rid of it. They'll pay me to come and collect it and I'll be like, all right.
That's exactly right. You'll be doing them a service.
That's right.
So if you had one piece of advice to a lady, a female, a young woman, whatever, listening to this podcast, thinking about jumping into long-range shooting, hunting, any of that stuff, what would you, if you were talking to them face-to-face and they're like, oh, I don't know, is it really for me? What would you say to them?
I would say, and this is what I would say generally to anyone that's wanting to pursue something, is that to give it a go and to trust yourself, to back yourself in the process. So, sometimes it is a bit of trial and error. Sometimes you'll go and you'll do an activity and you'll love it and it'll stick. Sometimes it'll take a little while. Sometimes it takes a while to find your tribe. And I think that it's important to keep looking for the place that feels right. I've done a lot of adventures in my life and traveled and I still have a desire to explore new spaces, but hunting is well and truly stuck for me. It is something that I'm so passionate about that, like I was saying before, like I feel like my heart has been searching for it for a long time, and now that I've found it, it really resonates, and this is something that I will do for the rest of my life. And so I would encourage people to seek something that really gives them so much joy and they're so passionate about that they're just going to keep doing it until it works or until it feels right. And that might be joining different clubs. It might take a bit of personal growth to feel that they can step into a particular space or activity that they want to. But I would just encourage people to back themselves and to not stop looking until they find something that feels right for them.
That's awesome advice. That is so good.
Thank you.
I just looked at the time. We've been chatting for an hour. I can't believe I've held you for so long. I'm so sorry.
No, I can chat. But if we were around a fire, this would be going for many hours. Like we would just be mesmerised by the flame.
I do want to say thank you so much for jumping on this. It's pretty new for me and I'm pretty excited, very excited to see what the future lies for you. I know that you've got a few things brewing and I will be watching very, very closely and you've got a new member of your cheer squad cheering you along all of the way. So
thank you, Carly. Likewise, I'm really impressed that you've taken this upon yourself to start this podcast, and I'm really honoured to be able to come on and have a chat. So thank you for having me.
Say thank you so much, and remember to follow the Women Who Hunt podcast so that you don't miss an episode, and stay tuned for the next one that'll drop in a fortnight. Thanks everyone for listening.
you.